In this lab project, we're going to test the pitot system. Remember, the pitot system has two elements, pitot and static. We're going to use pressure to check the pitot side and vacuum to check the static side. First thing good maintenance personnel do is refer to our manual. In this case, we're going to use the 4313. Now, 4313 specifies two criteria. We'll start with the static. As I said before, we're going to apply vacuum to the static side. We're going to draw down the system until we have a 1,000-foot increase in altitude. We're going to clamp that off for 60 seconds. And we're going to look for a 100-foot drop. If it's less than a 100-foot drop, the system's good to go. On the pitot side, we're going to apply pressure. In that case, we'll be looking for 150 knot indicated airspeed. We'll clamp that pressure off and watch for less than a 10 knot drop to meet the standard. Now, here we go. The first thing we want to do is close all valves. Be certain not to close these valves or tighten these valves excessively, only slight pressure is required. Connecting the pitot and static to the aircraft and calibrator is our next step. Our power cord is connected. Now we can start. The operating instructions tell us open the cross bleed valve approximately 3 turns. Now we're going to open the vacuum valve, and adjust to the desired altitude, which in this case is 1,000 feet above our starting point. First indication should be on the vertical speed indicator. And you're going to want a slow, steady climb, somewhere in the area of 1,000 feet per minute. Take note that the valve, and thus the instrument, is very sensitive to changes in vacuum. Notice on the mock-up that the altimeter and vertical speed indicator should mirror the indications on your pitot test unit. Just about at our altitude of 1,500 feet. Close off the vacuum valve and start the timer. Remember, the test is considered satisfactory if we have less than 100-foot altitude loss in 60 seconds. Now, let's say that 60 seconds has elapsed. Do we meet the standard? Yes, we do. Notice, no loss whatsoever. So now what we're going to do, open the vent valve. And what we're doing is allowing atmospheric pressure into the system to equalize it. Same thing as before. Very gently open that valve, and the first indication you should see is a descent on the vertical speed indicator. On a nice even descent, around 1,000 feet per minute. Remember, as the atmospheric pressure enters our system and gradually equalizes, you're going to have to continually open the vent valve until equalization occurs. With electromechanical gauges, occasional tapping of the glass is appropriate, especially when we get back to the starting point. So we're back where we started. We're going to close the vent valve and test the pressure, or pitot side. Now, to test the pitot side, make sure you close the cross bleed valve. Damage to the static side will occur if we should inadvertently introduce pressure. The cross bleed's closed, and now what we're going to do is apply pressure. What we're looking for is 150 knots indicated airspeed. We won't see any indication on the VSI or the altimeter, but we'll be looking for 150 knots here and also on the corresponding cockpit gauge. So very gently, we see a slight movement of the airspeed indicator. There's 150 knots. We'll start the timer, and the standard says we have to hold this airspeed for 60 seconds with less than a 10-knot drop. Anything more than that, the system is considered to be compromised, and we have to find the source of the leak. Now let's pan over to the gauge on the panel. Now here you see we've got 170 indicated. Why do you suppose that is? Alright, let's say that 60 seconds has elapsed. Do we meet the standard? Certainly appears as though we do. So, very gently, we're going to release the built-up pressure. Gradually allowing it to equalize. Remember, we're dealing with very sensitive instruments here. Any quick movement of the gauges is undesirable. We have very sensitive clockwork mechanisms inside. Back to the starting point, close the vent, turn the power off, and our pitot static leak check is concluded.